Hey everyone, in this short video I want to talk about the probiotic Biogaia Protectis. This is a specific strain of lactobacillus called Lactobacillus reuteri DSM 17938, and we recommend this probiotic a lot here at HealthPath to our customers. So I thought it would be the first sort of video I do in this series on probiotics. Why do we recommend it an awful lot? Well, one of the primary reasons is because it has been shown to reduce methane production and as a result improve functional chronic constipation. So if we look at this research paper, yes, it's not a randomized control trial, it's a retrospective study and it's only done on 20 adults, but it is clear evidence that we can consider this strain of probiotic for this reason. So these 20 individuals struggled with functional constipation. They were given the probiotic for 4 weeks and they did a lactulose breath test at the beginning and the end of this 4-week period. And what they found was a significant decrease in methane production based on that lactulose breath test. It went from 21 parts per million on average down to 9 parts per million. And what's really impressive here is that 11 of the 20 patients had a total disappearance of methane production. It was under 5 parts per million. And it needs to be under 10 parts per million to have a negative test result. So the conclusion from this study is this study highlights for the first time the beneficial effect of Lactobacillus reuteri DSM 17938 on chronic constipation via a significant decrease of methane production. So if you're struggling with methane production, if you've done a breath test, or if you've done a gut microbiome test and you have an overgrowth of Methanobrevibacter smithii in your large intestine and you're struggling with constipation, then this probiotic is arguably the go-to probiotic to consider. Now, what I want to do now is just sort of skim through some research papers looking at the potential benefits of this strain, this probiotic, in other sort of areas of gut health as well. And we're going to finish off by discussing how might this specific strain of probiotic be working. So let's dive in. This is a double-blind, randomized study looking at functional abdominal pain in children. What they found was that the administration of this probiotic was indeed associated with a reduction in the intensity of pain and with significantly increased numbers of pain-free days. So if you have a kiddo and they're struggling with abdominal pain, this might be a probiotic to consider. Now, often the dose that is being used in these studies is actually similar for both infants, teenagers, and adults. And we'll come to that at the end. But for now, this is another area that we can consider this probiotic. Excuse me while I itch. We then have Lactobacillus reuteri DSM for infantile colic. This is a systematic review with network meta-analysis. These authors looked at 32 studies analysing 2,242 patients. The conclusion was that this strain of probiotic, as well as some dietetic approaches, so changes to diet, are better compared to other interventions for infantile colic. Now, our first child struggled with colic and did have a noticeable improvement by taking this probiotic. So I can say firsthand that this is, again, a go-to probiotic if you have a really little kiddo who is struggling with colic. The next paper is looking at functional chronic constipation, and these authors looked at this probiotic as well as magnesium oxide and compared it to a placebo. Now, interestingly, and this is quite common in the research, the conclusion is that the probiotic and magnesium oxide were both effective in the management of functional constipation. In this study, magnesium oxide actually caused some imbalances in the gut microbiome, which wasn't the case with the probiotic. But if you look at the results section, all 3 groups exhibited significant improvement in defecation frequency in the 4th week compared to the baseline condition. So in fact, even the group that just took a placebo had significant improvement. Now, I haven't looked at the finer details to see what the difference is between those three groups, but I think it's important to pull out this fact. This does happen relatively frequently, and it's worth highlighting that actually there is research suggesting that, especially in irritable bowel syndrome, there is a really high placebo rate, which isn't too surprising when we think about the impact of the gut-brain axis within gut health. Okay, moving on. We then have a systematic review and meta-analysis of diarrhea in children. Yes, this probiotic seems to be helpful both for constipation and for diarrhea, which is quite interesting. The conclusion, this probiotic administered reduces the duration of diarrhea and increases the chance of cure. We have a double-blind, randomized, placebo-controlled study in infants with functional chronic constipation showing its efficacy. So we have lots of different research. In fact, Biogaia, which is the brand, has 3 strains of Lactobacillus reuteri that they offer. And in combination, there are over 250 clinical studies that have been done on these strains of Lactobacillus reuteri. And that's over 22,000 people that have been within those studies. So they really are some of the most researched probiotics we have on the market. So the next question, I think, really becomes, how is this happening? How does this probiotic actually influence our health and improve constipation, improve diarrhea, improve abdominal pain, etc.? So we have this study that I want to highlight initially. And what it found was that this strain of Lactobacillus reuteri improved circulating levels of serotonin and BDNF. Now we know that serotonin has a role to play within motility. It's one of the reasons why some people can benefit from supplementing 5-HTP, because that is a precursor to serotonin, and some people do indeed find improvement to their constipation. 5-HTP, therefore, is found in some of the prokinetic supplements that are on the market. Now, I didn't really know the significance of the fact that BDNF was found to be elevated. When looking at this paper the first time, I didn't really know that BDNF influenced gut health as well. However, a quick bit of Googling and you'll find some really interesting papers looking at BDNF. This is a study in mice, admittedly, but it shows that BDNF preserves the mucosal lining of the gut in mice. The mucosal lining is part of the gut lining. That thick mucus that lines the gut serves a significant role in preventing bacteria from entering circulation, where they would create a systemic inflammatory response. But we also see that BDNF belongs to a family of nerve growth factors. BDNF has a role to play both in the central and the peripheral nervous system, and I think I'm right in saying in the enteric nervous system as well. The enteric nervous system is the nervous system that really kind of wraps itself around the digestive tract and innervates the gut. So we have different mechanisms at play here. Now, this strain of probiotic, to summarize, is good for constipation, especially caused by methane. It can be helpful in reducing diarrhea in children and infants. It can reduce abdominal pain in children. Different strains of Lactobacillus reuteri that we might do videos on at a later date actually can be helpful in assisting with the eradication of H. pylori. And there's also a Lactobacillus reuteri strain that has research behind it in maintaining or improving oral health as well. So, I hope this video has been helpful and informative and has helped you understand a little bit more about this strain of probiotic. I'm going to be doing more videos on different strains of probiotics to help people understand these products a little bit more and when we might want to consider using them. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. If you have experience with this product, please share it. I think it's really helpful for people to hear both positive and negative outcomes. it will help people understand whether this is a probiotic that they do indeed want to consider trying. I will add a link to the product that we recommend at Health Path as well, if any of you want to check that out. Until next time, guys, stay happy and healthy, and I'll be back very soon with another video.